Welcome back, folks. Sorry it's been a while since I've made any videos, but you know how it is. Archery season came around and getting ready for hunting season in general. Here at Backcountry Outfitters, we were building camps through September or through August, and then hunting season rolled in on us here in archery for September, and just getting a chance to get another video made. This video today is going to be for those rifle hunters that are coming out. Now this is for those who are going to be in drop camps or guided. I am going to touch more on the guided side. There's several things that need to be taken into consideration when you're hunting with us. So today I'm actually going to go over some just basic safety stuff, just a reminder. I know we all have had hunter safety, but for some of us it's been several years, and you know, sometimes we take things for granted. There's going to be situations that you're going to be put in with a guide, or you know, with another hunter with you and your guide, that you may have never been encountered with before. So this video is going to go over some safety precautions that we ask, and then we're going to go over what to expect from your guide as far as when you're still hunting through the woods, and how your guide's going to react and how you need to react, and just go over some clues on what your game's going to do. Most of you are coming here for elk, so we will go over that real quick. It's good to know what your game, mostly your elk, are going to do when you first see them. That gives you an idea of what you're going to do as a shooter. And then lastly, we're going to go over different shooting positions that you may encounter here at Backcountry. You got to remember now, there's times that you're going to be still hunting through the woods. There are going to be times where you're just going to be standing in the woods. You may be sitting on a wallow. You may be sitting on a well-used trail. You may be sitting on a park. All these places have their different shooting styles. There's times that you will be literally standing there talking to your guide, trying to just talk about the day and the weather and how beautiful it is outside, and an elk could actually just literally walk through. I actually put a video up and we put it up on Facebook where I'm guiding my archery hunters, and we literally had walked every so far. We walk, and I'll do a cow calling sequence, and we were standing there, and I'd already called, and it had been about 15-20 minutes, and nothing of course was answering. It was a tough season, but we were standing there talking, and I happened to look up, and literally within 12 feet of us comes a spike bull, walks right up, walks right down a log 10 feet from us, walks around us, walks past us. I mean, this bull was right there on top of us while we're standing there talking. So at any time a shot could present itself, game can present itself. So you got to be prepared to be able to take that shot, no matter where your gun's located on your body, to how you are comfortable taking a shot. So first thing I want to go over is you have, you know, your normal rifle that you're going to be hunting. Okay, as you can see, clip is empty, gun's empty, it's open. Okay, we know now this gun is 100% safe without shooting someone. But what we ask is, even though we know and you know because the slide's open, don't point your gun, try not to point your gun in the direction of any person. This is, you know, you're going to be using rifle scabbards on the horses. The guns are going to go in like this, and you're going to slide them in. We did a video earlier on that. You can go back to the YouTube channel and find that. We show you how and what to do. Never put your rifle in the scabbard until your guide has actually verified that there's nothing in the chamber. We don't allow anything to be in the chamber for the safety of the horse. Anything can happen as you're riding. Horses are just like humans. They can trip, they can stumble, they can fall. You know, we can do the same thing walking through the woods. We can trip over the smallest stick, and horses can do the same thing. So we like to keep your gun safe, and we like to keep everybody else safe. So before you get on your horse, always make sure it is open, and if you have a clip, keep it out. Let your guide see that it's empty. Close it, then replace. This can have bullets in it. We're okay if your magazine has a bullet in it, just as long as when you close the slide, there's nothing in the chamber. Put it in place, make sure it's secure, and then take it, slide it into the scabbard, and you're good to go. The other thing is when you get back, get off your horse, you will retrieve your rifle from the scabbard. You reach in, pull it out, you point it up, open the slide. Okay, slide open, gun is clear. Okay, and when you're going back to your tent, you put your gun on your shoulder. You can carry it with it pointed in the air, turn in a safe direction, point it to the ground. However you choose to carry it, we just ask that you don't carry it in this position. At any time somebody could come out of a tent, so we're just asking to be in a very safe manner if at all possible. And we ask that we keep everything safe, not just for other people, but for the guides. The other thing that we ask is when you're hunting, okay, when you close this slide, you get off the horse. If your guide allows you to put a bullet in the chamber for where you're located, you do so. You immediately put the safety on. Immediately. Once your safety is on, there's multiple ways that you're going to be walking through the woods. You may be climbing 200 to 300 feet of elevation. If you are, you're going to want your hands free. Okay? Yes, you can put your gun on your shoulder and climb that elevation with two hands. Gun's going to slide. It's going to be a pain, but it's going to slide. You're going to have a backpack on. It's not going to allow you to do a lot of things with your gun. Your gun is going to constantly hit the side of that backpack, and it's going to constantly try to slide off your shoulder. Okay? So, we received a lot of questions this year on shooting sticks and bipods. Bipods are great for specific shooting situations, but this type of country and this type of hunt, a bipod is not really recommended. It's going to be a lot of weight on your shoulders. It's a lot of weight to carry through the woods, and your chances of using it are smaller than shooting freehanded. So we really don't recommend the bipod. Shooting sticks have multiple forms depending on what type of shooting sticks you use. They can also be used as a walking stick, and we understand that. But here's what you have to keep in mind is when you're climbing anywhere from let's say 9,400 foot elevation, and you're making your way up to 9,800 foot elevation because your guide hears a bull and you all are trying to make and cover country. The last thing you need is something else in your hand when you're climbing and going up the hill and your gun's sliding off your shoulder and you're doing one of these numbers trying to get through the woods and throwing it up and you're on a steep incline. You can keep a hand here and you can help pull yourself up over the hill with just using your hand and keeping that hand free. That is very, very important. Yes, you could use that shooting stick to help push yourself up, but if you lose your balance, that shooting stick is not going to hold your balance. The trees, there's aspens and ponderosa pines there's some blue spruce. You'll be able to grab a hold of that. That's going to keep you anchored to the ground. Your shooting stick is not. So what I'm trying to get at is, yeah, shooting sticks have their place, and I'm not saying that you can't bring them. What I'm saying is we don't really recommend them, because I'm going to show you later on this video a couple different things in ways that you can shoot just as effectively without a shooting stick, because the country that we hunt in is a dense cover. I mean, I'm here on my property today, and as you can see, I have a lot of underbrush with some tall ponderosa pines. I don't really have the kind of territory that we're going to be hunting in, but as you can see, you do have all kinds of underbrush, and that's what you're going to have when you're hunting. there's stuff that you can always grab a hold of to help pull on. So just keep that in mind when it comes to the shooting sticks. And the safety part of this is, if you have shooting sticks and you're grabbing trees and you're doing stuff, if your gun slips and falls, that's now putting anybody that's walking behind you, because you remember, some of you are doing a 2-on-1 hunt, so that's 2 hunters per 1 guide, and your guide may be taking you or your other hunter out to a location to set you somewhere to take the other person for a little bit, and then they'll switch you all out. It all depends on your guide, and it all depends on the hunters how it ends up going. But again, if your gun slips and falls off your shoulder, you've got shooting sticks and you're trying to grab this, and you're on an incline like this, and I'm not kidding, you will be on inclines like this more than likely. That's a whole scenario for a bad situation to happen. So with that said, yes, you can take your rifle and you can put it up over your shoulders like this, but again, you're going to have a backpack which is going to pull it up here, which, if you're comfortable with that, good, because that gives you 2 free hands, and it's the safest way to actually be able to carry your rifle when you're going up a real steep incline. Some people like to put it on their pack, which is also fine. Just understand that before you get to the top, you're going to want to remove your rifle from your shoulder and get it back on properly. And the reason is because if you start to crest up over that hill and your elk or your game is right there, you can now get your gun off your shoulder in a reasonable amount of time to take the shot and get your game. Some things that we also ask is, don't load your rifle until your guide, you can ask your guide. If your guide doesn't come right out and say, hey, go ahead and put one in the chamber, say, hey, can I put one in the chamber? Don't forget to ask them, because remember, they're dealing with horses, they're dealing with trying to get you headed in the right direction, and they've got a lot of safety things going on in their minds and the checklist. So ask. If you're ever in question, say, hey, can I put one in the chamber? There's some terrain that it's best that you don't have one in the chamber, just because it's so steep and rocky and dangerous that an unloaded gun is a whole lot better than a loaded gun, if you all understand what I'm saying. With that said, there's going to be times where you're going to be still hunting through the woods. Try to stay 2 to 3 feet behind your guide, maybe 4 feet at the most. The reason for this is, if you trip and fall, the last thing you want to do is fall straight into your guide with a rifle. And most of you will be hunting, let's say you're still hunting and you're walking through the woods and you're holding your rifle in this position, okay? And you're walking and you go to trip. Let's say you trip and fall forward. What are you doing? You're pointing that gun right in the back of your guide. We're trying to avoid stuff like that. So what we're asking is, you stay back a ways. That way, if you do trip and fall, you have time to put your hand out. You don't push the guide over. It's a safe distance, but at the same time, if the guide needs to make an adjustment, if they stop real quick, you're not right there going into the back of the guide. There is going to be times when you're still hunting that, I know it has happened to me multiple times, is I'll come to a stop real quick because I see something, smell something, or hear something. And those are the 3 things that'll stop me in my tracks, and I'll stop and instantly start looking. And as a guide, that's what we're trained to do. And if you're not, you're sort of walking and doing your thing, and they stop and you don't see them as soon as they stop, at least you have that one extra step where you can go, oh, they stopped, and you can stop in a time that still gives you distance. Because again, you're going to be right behind your guide. Never try to walk beside your guide. We always try to ask that you stay behind us. And the reason for that is, when we're walking single file through the woods, that's less movement that any elk or game can see, which then helps us get closer. We can walk up on elk. And that's something that I'm going to go over here in just a minute. Now, your guide, all guides are different on how we do things as far as letting you take the shot. Okay, there's going to be times where you may be walking through the woods. I'm the guide. I'm walking through the woods, and I come to a stop. You're right behind me. Okay, you're 2 feet behind me. There's a bull 60 yards in front of us. That bull doesn't see us, has no clue we're there, and he turns his head. I know, okay, I've already got your attention that there's a bull. Okay, you know I'm in front of you. So how are you going to remove your rifle? There's nobody behind you. There's nobody, and I'm the only one in front of you. It's just the two of us. Well, there's several options. You know, there's this, which is preferred, because now you're pointing it in a direction that's away from your guide, but at the same time, you can bring down onto the game and take the shot if you need it. There's the grab the butt, slide it around, and keep it pointed at the ground, which is another acceptable form. What you know, you can have it. You can be doing this, you know, the carry, and then, you know, the game is, like I said, your guide is in front of you. So what you have to do now is you have to get ready, raise gun up, and come around your guide. Don't ever point your gun in the back of the guide. This has happened before, and that's the reason why I'm mentioning this in the video, is keep in mind at all times, stuff is gonna happen quickly at times. You're gonna need to take a quick shot. Just know that safety is first, and make sure your guide is out of the way. Now, I'm your guide. I'm in front of you. I have your attention, okay? And I've let you know that there's a bull. You see the bull, okay? Bull. Yep. I see that you're pulling your gun off your shoulder. You see the bull. Your guides are going to do multiple things. Okay, yes, we're in front of you. So I'm going to back up here a little bit, and it may be as much as this to give you that 3 or 4 foot advantage of having that open window. You're going to then take 1 step forward, come past the guide, just where your barrel is past the guide. Your guide will be leaning and far enough out of the way that everything's safe. Guides will cover their ear like they normally do, and you take a good clean shot. There'll be times where your guide is walking along, you got it, and going to the left is really not an option, so they will drop down to their knees, bend their head, and cover their ear. Okay, those are the things you need to understand, that as a guide, we're going to try not to move as much as possible so that you can get that shot on game that doesn't know we're there. And for you, you can freehand it, and then you can use different types of rests off of trees, which I'm going to go over next. But make sure your guide is out of your shooting lane and in a safe position before you take the shot. There will be times that you're walking along, and it's literally going to happen within seconds. Your guide's going to say bull, and you're literally going to have to take your rifle off, draw it down, safety off, get him in the sights, and squeeze the trigger. Your elk that are looking at you only give you seconds to get a shot off before they're going to blow out of the area. Some may bump, go out to, let's say it's at 60 yards, it goes out to 120 yards, and you actually have a clear shot. And then you take that rest and you take the shot. What we ask is you don't rush your shot and take a bad shot, and we ask you to make sure of your target before you squeeze the trigger. Make sure that there's not a cow or a calf or anything in behind the bull, so that when you take a shot and you have a pass through, it doesn't hit or kill something behind it. So just keep those things in mind. Just know that your guide will get out of the way for you to get that shot. If the bull is on the right side and it's getting ready to run, you're bringing up, and the bull takes off to the left, your guide is going to do everything they can to drop to their knees or roll to the ground or whatever it takes for you to continue with that shot. If they don't get out of the way, you have to take all that in consideration as a hunter, not to muzzle sweep your guide or any other hunter that may be with you. So those are things to take in consideration. Some things that I did with this here is I placed a target downrange. It's about 100 yards. It's a Glendale buck, of course. As you're looking at the video, you're looking down through there, you can see that it's hard to see that target, okay? So as I start to zoom in on that target, you can start to pick it up a little bit better, okay? Now you see it. You see the brush? Now the game is looking at you. You have seconds to get off. You're not going to have time. Now if that deer's head was turned away from you or has his head down, that means you've got time to take the shot. Zoom it back out. That's what you're going to see when you're walking through the woods. You're just gonna pick them up. It's gonna be a quick step around the corner and boom, there they're gonna be. Their head's either gonna be down, it's gonna be up. They're either gonna be looking at you or they're gonna be looking away. Those are your clues of what type of shot you're gonna have. Are you gonna have time to get a rest? Or are you gonna have to bring that gun off your shoulder, get the safety on, put it on target, and squeeze the trigger? So when you're practicing, I know first rifle's coming up next week, guys, and I'm really sorry about this, but this video is getting out a little late, but you need to practice that shot. Now, I know at the rifle range you've been sitting at a bench, you've been putting the bullets down the range, and that's great. That is exactly what you need to do, because that is muscle memory, and that's working on confidence. Now you need to go, if your range allows you to at least hold your gun here and take your safety off, bring it to your shoulder, put it on target, and make that shot. Practice that at 100 yards if your range allows it. If you have your own private property, practice taking it right off your shoulder, bringing it around and taking that shot. Muscle memory. You know, I did a video on archery, and it's pretty much the same thing of dropping to a knee and taking a shot, because literally it's going to be that quick, where you may even in rifle season you may even have to drop to a knee to take a shot, and it's going to be quick. It's going to be literally take the gun off, drop to your knees, target, pull the trigger. Elk will not stand still for you to get that perfect flat level shot. They will be where we find them, in the position that we find them in. Now if you've got time, you've got a herd of elk and they're feeding and they're not paying any bit of attention to you, plenty of time to take a rest, then do so without moving too much or getting busted. So those are just some things to expect when you're hunting with us. Either first rifle or third rifle, drop camp. You drop camp guys, understand, you already know the safeties, know what you're shooting at before you shoot. Make sure you wear your orange. Remember, it's a vest and a hat. Know that you will be in terrain that's going to be tough and you're not going to have a guide with you. Always keep your eyes open, always be paying attention, and when you see that game, it's going to be the same type of shot as if you were guided. You're going to have to get that gun off your shoulder, and you're going to get on target, and you're going to have to get the shot completed before they run. And I always ask people that and tell people that if you're going to take a shot like that, make sure it's a shot that you're comfortable with. We don't want to wound any game, because a wounded elk will run forever. And it's really hard to find, especially right now. As you can see, the leaves are changing here for first rifle. blood on the ground, leaves dropping on top of that. It just makes it a lot harder for us to track and trail a blood trail. Not that we can't and not that we won't. It's the fact that a more ethical, clean shot, the more and likely we are to be able to find that bull a whole lot easier. So those are the safety things to remember. You know, just the basic hunter education. I'm not saying anyone's dumb and didn't know it. What I'm saying is refresher is always important, and some things just to keep in mind, because you guys that are coming here for this hunt, you know, you have been waiting for this, whether you booked it 5 years ago or just 6 months ago, and you've been waiting for this hunt. You've been packing, you've been practicing, you've been buying gear, you've been getting geared up for it. But this is one of those things that we all just take for granted, that we know, but accidents do happen. You know, here in Colorado, not too far from us here in Unit 77, there was actually an archery hunter shot by a guy with a muzzleloader. So it's just one of those things that I thought, you know, let's just throw it out there, make sure everybody's on the same page. Let's have a good hunt. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is go over different shooting positions that you can expect to have while you're here at backcountry. Okay, everybody. Well, so I've decided to split the video up in half. As you see, the first half was on gun safety and how the shots that you're going to have when you are with a guide and how the guide's going to react, things of that nature. And the video just got too long, I felt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it out here, and we're going to have a part 2 of this video. And so I just wanted to tell everybody, please check out part 2. It goes over some very important things to take into consideration when you're the way you're going to shoot, the way you rest against a tree, some of the different shots that you're going to have when you're sitting on wallows and trails. So check that out, and I appreciate you watching, and I hope everyone has a good day. What do you think, Killian? You want to tell everybody bye?